And now, Eyewitness News NightBEAT.
Good evening to you. Tonight, the move is on to make baby selling a crime in Connecticut.
Yes, state lawmakers are working now to plug a loophole to make sure we never see a repeat of last year's infamous Baby James case in Torrington. NightBEAT reporter Dennis House is live at the Capitol with more on the story. Dennis?
Now, good evening. Well, you know, baby selling is already illegal in Connecticut, but there's a small loophole in the state's adoption law that really could allow someone to trade their child for cash and, if caught, be charged with a lesser crime. So today, the State House of Representatives passed this bill, which would tighten that loophole and prevent Connecticut children from becoming black market babies. They became symbols of baby selling. James and Lynn Luddy of Torrington, last summer, accused of trying to peddle their son James for cash, actually back rent.
I think it's disgusting. It was disgraceful.
The Baby James case shocked nearly everyone. The idea of selling a baby was abhorrent to people all across Connecticut and to lawmakers here at the state capitol in Hartford, who decided to pass a new law so that never again would a child be sold in this state.
A baby should not be sold. Babies can be placed.
State Representative Ed Graziani co-sponsored the bill that tightens a loophole in Connecticut law and makes baby selling a crime.
This makes it specifically against the law to transfer the physical or legal custody permanently of a child under the age of 16 years of age for money.
Although it is currently illegal to sell a baby in Connecticut, Graziani says the punishment doesn't fit the crime. For instance, last summer, James and Lynn Luddy were charged with risk of injury to a minor. If the proposed law was in effect then, the charge would have been more serious. Tonight, we couldn't find anyone against this proposed law.
I think it's an excellent idea. I don't think people should be selling their children.
For people to actually look at children and literally propertize them, there's a problem with that.
Now, the state Senate is expected to vote on this bill within the next couple of days, and insiders at the Capitol tell us it should pass. The governor is also expected to sign the bill into law. Incidentally, baby James remains in foster care tonight. Reporting live from the state capitol in Hartford, I'm Dennis House, Channel 3, Eyewitness News NightBEAT.
Now a breaking story just coming into Eyewitness News, this involving the arrest of a Southington man on 2 separate warrants for sexual assault. We are talking about 34-year-old Scott Weiner. Police say he had some type of sexual encounter with 2 underage boys. And in the second case, he's accused of having sexual intercourse with a boy under the age of 16. Tonight, Weiner is in a Southington jail. Bond has been set at $400,000. He is set to be arraigned tomorrow in Bristol Superior Court. We'll, of course, have more on this story for you on Eyewitness News tomorrow morning. A deadly car accident tonight, and the victim, a teenage girl. This is happening on Route 63 in Middlebury. NightBEAT reporter Donna Savarese is live at the police station with more on this investigation. Donna, what can you tell us?
Well, Gayle, this is indeed a tragedy. 1 teenager dead, 4 others taken to the hospital. And police say the teenager least seriously hurt is the one that caused the crash. It was here on Straits Turnpike in Middlebury where the crash happened. Skid marks, chilling reminders of an horrific collision around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Authorities say 18-year-old Jacob Reed of Waterbury had gotten into a first crash less than a mile away from here in Naugatuck, near the Waterbury line. As he was fleeing the scene, police say he lost control of his Ford Probe, collided with a Chevy Geo. 4 teenagers inside. 17-year-old Sarah Quadrato was pronounced dead on scene. 2 other 17-year-olds, George McKnight and Glenn Miller, both of Waterbury, remain hospitalized here at St. Mary's Hospital. Now, late word tonight that both McKnight and Miller have now been released from St. Mary's. The 4th teenager in the car from Middlebury, whose name has not been released, remains in critical condition at Yale New Haven Hospital. And the driver of the car that lost control, that first car, Jacob Reed, was treated and released from Waterbury Hospital. Police say he may face criminal charges in this case. Back to you.
All right, Donna Savarese reporting live. Thanks.
A couple of other car accidents in the news tonight. One in Torrington left up to 5 people in the hospital. Details are sketchy, but we do know that one vehicle rolled over and another burst into flames. A man from Torrington was driving south on Marshall Street. Investigators say he crossed the yellow line. A woman from Norwalk and her 2 young children swerved to avoid him. They hit the oncoming car head-on and rolled over. Right now, the victims are at Charlotte Hungerford Hospital in Torrington. And there's another rollover, this one at the rush hour in Hartford at Asylum and Union Streets. Amazingly, with all this damage, there were only minor injuries reported. So far, no charges have been filed, but the crash is still under investigation.
It's been a busy day for the NCAA with harsh penalties against 2 New England universities. First, It strips UConn of money and its record, and then does the same for UMass. But tonight, one UMass player makes a very surprising announcement. Joe Tessitore has more on this turn of events and joins us now from the newsroom. Joe?
Gayle, Hartford native Marcus Camby is ready to ante up his due, and we'll tell you about that in a second. First, the facts of the day. The two scandals involving Connecticut sports agent John Lounsbury were put to rest by the NCAA. Let's start off with the Huskies. Captain Kirk King and Ricky Moore's acceptance of airline tickets was the center of attention. Today, the NCAA demanded UConn repay over $90,000 from their 1996 postseason run. Also, that year's Sweet 16 finish in the NCAA tournament has been removed from the record book. The enforcement staff did agree there was not a lack of institutional control by UConn. And as for UMass, Hartford native Marcus Camby's well-publicized sports agent trouble was costly. The school's first ever Final Four is being stripped. It'll be replaced by an asterisk. The NCAA says it's as if it never happened. Also, UMass will have to pay back $150,000 in revenue. Marcus Camby obviously wasn't punished here, but he has decided he will carry the burden. The NBA millionaire intends to fully pay back all the money to the school. Tonight, Marcus said, "I'm really sorry. I made a mistake." And Gayle, as you can see, he's paying for that mistake personally.
Thank you, Joe. A correction on our story last night about a legislative bill to fight golf course discrimination. We reported that the Country Club of Avon did not allow women the access to prime weekend morning tee times. That is not true. The Country Club makes weekend morning tee times available to all of its members. The club says any female member can play golf at any time designated for the members. And the Avon Country Club has had female members, they want you to know, for 30 years now.
Now, about a month after some of the most torrential flooding a town has ever seen, people in North Dakota say a second angel is in their midst. That angel is an anonymous donor who gave $5 million to help flood victims rebuild their homes and their lives. The first angel had earlier blessed victims with $15 million, but the new cash is certainly going to be welcome news for thousands who are still waiting for their emergency applications to be processed for aid. And wicked weather moving through the center of the country turns an Oklahoma TV crew into tornado chasers. Take a look. Their camera is rolling, and right there, the highlighted area, hope you can see it, there is a twister right out there. The darkening skies also brought high wind, hail, and driving rain. The good news, no injuries reported, but the bad news for us is we have some of that wet weather heading our way. Hilton Kaderli has a preview of Connecticut's most accurate forecast. Hilton?
We do indeed, Al, and just to update you, areas very close to where that tornado occurred are under the gun again tonight. We'll have details on that in just a minute. But what's coming overnight for us? Clouds will continue to increase and thicken. You'll see rain developing and overnight lows in the 40s. When you wake up in the morning, it'll be mostly cloudy with some showers around, readings in the mid-40s. Midday, showers from time to time Friday, low 50s around midday. Chance of even a thunderstorm tomorrow evening with temperatures in the mid-50s. Now, what does this all mean for the Mother's Day holiday weekend coming up? We'll have the full forecast in just a few minutes. Al, Gayle?
Thank you, Hilton. A Russian rampage by one of that country's leaders and his target, 2 television journalists. It was all caught on tape by a TV news crew. When ultra-nationalist leader Vladimir Zhirinovsky became very angry after the TV crew filmed him being denied entry to a World War II victory ceremony at Russia's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. He grabs a female photographer's microphone, throws it on the ground, and twists her hand. He then pushes the correspondent into his car, where his guards try to take away her documents. She broke free and ran away. Zhirinovsky is known for his feisty and sometimes violent behavior.
A deadly chemical explosion at a packaging plant in Arkansas, and throughout the evening, both residents and firefighters near the site have been given injections of a poison antidote. Let's show you the scene. 3 firefighters were killed here this afternoon. Authorities say they were among those battling a pesticide-fueled blaze that followed the explosion. Again, this is down in Arkansas. We're told the number of casualties could rise as emergency workers get closer to the area where the blast occurred. We will, of course, continue to bring you developments as they are warranted.
Also making news around America tonight, rescue workers in Tampa, Florida, are looking for a person who was thrown off of a highway bridge in a traffic accident. Authorities say the driver of a pickup truck crossed 2 lanes of traffic on I-275 under a bridge linking Tampa and St. Petersburg and was clipped by a dump truck. The 2 people on the pickup were ejected into Tampa Bay. One has been rescued, but the other is still missing at this hour.
In Cleveland, Sam Shepard's son is trying to clear his late father's name. He's suing to get a judge to declare that his father was wrongly convicted and jailed for the murder of his wife back in 1954. And he says prosecutors are just trying to delay the case. Sam Shepard was eventually acquitted, and it was his case that inspired the TV series The Fugitive. If his son wins, he can apply for compensation for the 10 years his father was in jail.
And bystanders refuse to follow orders when a pet store goes up in flames in Albuquerque, New Mexico, risking their own lives in thick smoke to save the trapped animals. Some people brought out glass cases of rodents. Others climbed a back fence, handing panicked dogs to helpers below. Police eventually moved the rescuers away from the flames. Now, all of the dogs and the cats were saved, but some of the smaller animals, such as the ferrets and the reptiles, were lost. No people were injured here.
Did you know that a trip to the doctor can cost you your health insurance? Up next, we'll show you what's being done to change that.
Didn't know that. Also coming up on the Night Beat, making television safe for kids with shows like this one. And a Connecticut congressman is leading the way.
They save lives every day, and maybe they've saved yours. Tonight, meet some emergency operators in a special report, 911 Heroes.
And a little bit later tonight, a story that proves that love flourishes in the animal world. We're coming right back. Stay with us, please.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News. This is Connecticut's news station.